When people talk about World War II, they think of the tanks, the generals, and the massive battles that shaped history. But for millions of soldiers, survival wasn't just about fighting the enemy. It was about surviving nature itself. Frozen trenches, muddy fields, endless rain. Every day was a battle against the elements. To endure this, soldiers became masters of fieldcraft, the ancient art of survival using nothing but skill, instinct, and the land itself. Today, we'll uncover 7 forgotten World War II survival lessons that still work. Whether you're camping, prepping, or just fascinated by real survival wisdom, let's begin. In the chaos of battle, soldiers learned that a shallow hole in the ground could save their lives. They dug foxholes not just to hide from bullets, but to protect from wind, snow, and rain. They lined the floor with pine branches and leaves for insulation, and covered the top with canvas, tarp, or spare clothing. This simple shelter cut exposure dramatically, a natural barrier against cold and wind. Even today, a dugout or natural hollow lined with dry materials can save you from hypothermia faster than a store-bought tent. The earth itself became their shield. In the field, smoke could mean death. A single puff could give away a soldier's position. So they built what's known as the Dakota fire hole, a double-chamber pit that draws air through one tunnel and vents heat through another. This design burns wood hotter, faster, and cleaner, producing almost no smoke. For survivalists today, it's one of the best stealth and efficiency fires ever invented. Less wood, more heat, and no visible trail. A soldier's ingenuity at its finest. You might think food or fire mattered most, but disease was the deadliest killer of all. Trench foot, dysentery, and infection took more soldiers than bullets. Those who survived the longest had discipline. They rotated socks, dried their feet by the fire, boiled their water, and buried waste far from camp. In survival, cleanliness isn't comfort. It's protection. Even today, purifying water and keeping dry can be the true line between life and death. A helmet wasn't just armor. It was a cooking pot, a wash basin, and sometimes even a shovel. Every tool, every scrap, had more than one purpose. That mindset, using what you have in new ways, is the essence of real survival. Modern gear can break or be lost, but adaptability never fails. If you can find 3 uses for everything you carry, you're already thinking like a World War II soldier. Blending into the environment wasn't just for stealth, it was survival itself. Soldiers used mud, leaves, and even soot to hide their outlines. They moved quietly, stayed low, and never drew attention to reflective gear. For modern survivalists, camouflage is still key, not just to avoid danger, but to move freely and hunt effectively. The less you're seen, the safer you are. Rations were scarce, and soldiers learned to live off the land. In Europe, they gathered berries, chestnuts, and wild greens. In the Pacific, they fished, climbed for coconuts, and cooked taro root. They learned quickly. No single food source can save you. Knowing your environment meant the difference between hunger and survival. Even today, learning local edible plants or basic trapping can make you self-sufficient, just like they were. When the cold set in, when food ran out, when hope seemed gone, only one thing kept soldiers alive: their mindset. They sang songs, carved wood, played cards, and wrote letters. Small acts to keep morale alive. Because once the mind breaks, the body follows. Mental discipline is the single strongest survival tool in history, and that truth hasn't changed since 1945. The fieldcraft lessons of World War II weren't born in classrooms. They were carved into history by men who faced the impossible and adapted. Survival isn't about fancy gear or luck. It's about resourcefulness, resilience, and respect for the environment. If you found these lessons inspiring, subscribe to Forgotten Survival for more stories of forgotten skills, survival wisdom, and the human spirit that refuses to break. Because knowledge weighs nothing.